Canva. My name is Tisha Richmond, and I am a Canva learning consultant. I have been a learning consultant for about a year and a half now. I have been using Canva since 2014, way before Canva came into the education sphere. However, I was using it in education in my classroom. I have been an educator for over 25 years, mostly as a career and technical educator at the high school level, taught culinary arts, taught interior design. And I was using Canva in my classroom at that time, the basic version without all the bells and whistles. My students were creating recipes and menus and logos for their food truck races, and we loved it back then. And oh my goodness, how far it's come. Like I said, have been an educator for over 25 years in public school system, mostly high school, but then I moved into a tech integration specialist role in my district supporting 20 schools, and then moved into a student engagement and PD specialist role from there. I wrote a book called Make Learning Magical back in 2018, and really that book is my heart, my passion for creating joyful learning experiences for students and really being able to empower them. And I think that's why I love Canva so much, is because it's a platform that really empowers our students and really creates a learning environment that is rich and engaging and empowering, and students get to create and collaborate and all of those good things. So super excited to be here today. You can reach me in all of those different ways. I am on social media, mainly on Twitter. So if you follow me at Tish Rich, I'm always happy to answer questions. So always feel free to reach out to me anytime. And on the one pager that the link is in the chat there, you will also find my contact information there as well. And that link is going to bring you to this resource where you're going to find the presentation deck for today. You're going to find some collaboration resources and a deep dive, a demo template link that I'm going to have you click on later when we get to that point in the presentation. And then the participant guidebook and the teacher resources are really there for you to dive deeper after this session when you want to explore more. So please just have this as a resource at the ready when you need it. Also, there is a QR code at the bottom there after this presentation. We always love to get your feedback. So before we dive in, I would like to really figure out where you are on this FIST to 5 with your comfort level in Canva. So if you have never logged in, I would say you are a FIST. So you can just put a 0 in the chat. If you've logged in, maybe looked around a little bit, but that's about it, I would give yourself a 1. If you are an almost never user, maybe you've made 1 or 2 designs, but really haven't done a whole lot, you'd be a 2. An occasional user, 3. Maybe you have Canva up on your browser all of the time, you'd be a 4. And if you could give this presentation, you just want me to move on over, you'd be a 5. So go ahead and put it in the chat. Thank you. I see lots of 1s. That's wonderful. Welcome to Canva. I'm excited to show you all that Canva has to offer today. We've got some 3s and 2s and 1s. That is fantastic. Great. Always helpful to know what your comfortability level is so that I know how slow to go, how fast to go, and make sure really ultimately I want you to leave the session today excited and really feeling empowered to be able to bring Canva for Education not only into your teaching, but also bring it into your classroom and get your students creating and collaborating as well. So we have a lot of 1s in the chat, so I want to make sure that you are all aware of what Canva for Education is. And Canva for Education is a visual communications platform. And in this visual communications platform, you are going to find a visual work suite. And in that visual work suite, you're going to be able to create documents. You're going to be able to create infographics. You're going to be able to create presentations, videos. You're going to be able to access the Canva print shop. You're going to be even able to create websites in Canva. And really, Canva is for everyone within your district. Everyone is going to be able to utilize the amazing tools that it has to offer. And I get this question a lot: why is Canva for Education free? Because really what you get with Canva for Education is all of the bells and whistles of the premium version that businesses pay for free. And so as your entire district, you are going to get all of the goodness that Canva has at no cost. And that is because that at Canva, we believe that education is a human right, and we want to empower the world to be able to design and to be able to create. And one thing we found to be unique about Canva is that the skills that students learn when they are in Canva for Education are going to transcend that K-12 landscape. Walt Disney uses Canva, Amazon uses Canva, many large corporations and businesses use Canva, small businesses, real estate agencies, nonprofit organizations. And so when our students are learning in Canva for Education in their classroom, they are learning a platform that they are going to see when they exit our K-12 system and go into the workforce. So we are equipping them with those skills, and our world is becoming more and more visual, where visual communication is becoming more and more important. In addition to that, Canva fosters timeless skills. So students are learning how to communicate, to create, to collaborate. They're learning how to be entrepreneurs. They're learning how to multitask and work together as a team. And so we're really fostering skills that are going to go with them throughout not only their educational career, but their career beyond our school systems as well. So our time together today, we're really going to focus on these things. We are going to take a Canva editor deep dive. And so if you were in the morning session, we were in the Canva editor for just a little bit, and I showed you a little bit of stuff in the Canva editor, but we're going to spend a lot of time there today really getting acquainted with all that the Canva editor has and really showing you then some designing essentials and ways to really be able to create and collaborate within the platform. And then you are going to have some interactive times where we're going to be able to work together. You're going to be able to work independently and then together to collaborate as well. And then we are going to end with some Q&A. And because we are with each other for a good chunk of time, I'm going to really be able to have a little flexibility to go where we need to go. And so I want to make sure that your questions are answered and that I'm going at the pace that really works for you. And I just really want to be cognizant of that. And so again, if you have questions in that you would like to ask, please put those in the chat. And Kelly, I'm sure will alert me if those questions are getting unnoticed. And also, I want to make sure that you know that you all learn in different ways. And so if you would like to be doing as I am showing, then I recommend if you do have a dual screen to have that dual screen up. I'm going to be providing you a link in just a little bit, a template link for you to be able to kind of play as I'm showing you things. But I know some of you just want to watch, and that is okay too. I want you to engage in this session, whatever makes sense to you and your learning style. So let's go ahead and take a dive into the Canva editor. And if you have that link, again, that link is in the chat that leads to this page of resources. There is a link that says Deep Dive Demo Template Link. And so when you open up that link within your one pager, you are going to come into a presentation that has a lot of the slides that I am going to be going over with you so that as I'm sharing, you're going to have a chance to practice too. So I'm going to give you just a moment to click on the one pager and find that deep dive demo template link. If you've never been in Canva before, you might need to click on Canva for Education in ClassLink before it will connect. So sometimes I find that when I work in classrooms a lot with students, and sometimes I find that if a student has never opened up Canva before, sometimes they need to make that connection first. And you can feel free to let me know if you're having trouble. So we right now are in the Canva editor. So the presentation that I am giving you today was created in Canva, and I was presenting in Canva. I was in presentation mode. So what I did was I exited out of presentation mode, and it brought me into the Canva editor. So no matter what doc type you are creating in Canva, whether it is an infographic or a presentation, or maybe you're creating a website, or maybe you're creating a comic strip or a resume, whatever that might be, this is going to be the editor. The editor is going to look very similar. There's only a few different doc types that have slight differences, but this is typically what you are going to see. So I want to make sure that you kind of understand what you're looking at right here. The design itself is right here in the center. And so where you see this page that says sidebar, this is my design within Canva. You will notice that this design has lots of pages, and on the tray at the bottom, this is all of the pages that I have in this presentation. You'll also notice that there is a little, what I call a carrot right here in the very center at the top of this tray, right here. And this little carrot is going to allow me to change the view of my pages. So I am either able to look at this as a tray view, or I can look at this as a scrolling like Facebook style view. So let's go back to the page that I was on. Now, on the left-hand side over here is my sidebar. So this is what we call the Canva sidebar. And you'll see that in the Canva sidebar, I have these icons. I have design, elements, uploads, text, draw, projects, and apps. Now, if you were in my morning session, we really just stayed within elements, uploads, and text, and that's where we remained. So this session, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into all three of those. But then in addition, I'm going to also share with you design, draw, projects, and then we're going to go into apps, and I'm going to show you lots of goodness that you're going to find in that part as well. Now, I want, before I start jumping into the different parts of the sidebar, I want to show you a few more things about Design Editor. Now, when I click on my sidebar, I want you to notice what happens to the top of my toolbar. Notice how all of these editing tools pop up. So it's going to allow me to change the color. It's going to allow me to change font. It's going to allow me to realign my text within that particular box. I'm going to be able to animate. So a lot of these things you're going to notice because they're the same, whether you're in Microsoft or Google, a lot of these icons look the same across lots of platforms. So I want to make sure that you are aware of that. I also want you to notice that I have a shape button here. And so I am able to change the shape of what I have, this rectangle, and I can change it into a variety of shapes right from that spot. If I ever want to undo things, you can see that there's an undo button up here on the top, and I can keep undoing until I get back to where I was before. Now, also notice that I'm clicked on this shape right now. This shape is text ready. So any shapes within the Canva library are ready for you to add text directly to them. Something else I want you to notice, because this is a shape, this little blue rectangle is a shape. If I go up to this line right here that says border style, that is going to allow me to add text border weight to this box. So see how I can add any amount of border weight. I can even round my corners. So within any shape that you decide to use in Canva, you're going to be able to add borders and you're going to be able to round. You also will be able to change the type of border. So I can make a dotted line, I can make a solid line, etc. Now notice when I click on other places on this screen, I have other things pop up. So because this is a photograph, I am able to do these editing things to this photograph. When I click here, again, this is a photograph. Again, I'm able to do those things. So always watch what happens when you click on a certain element or aspect of your page and see what happens to those top bar features. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the design editor. And I'm going to start by showing you templates. So when I go up to the very top here and I click on design, and feel free to join me if you have your template link open and you'd like to try this along with me, please do so. Or if you want to watch, that's totally fine too. But when I click on design, you can see that there's three things that are showing up here. I have templates, I have layouts, and I have styles. And so what templates is allowing you to do is it's allowing you to find templates that you might want to use for your presentation. So if we were going into a blank presentation right now and I didn't already have pages made, I would be able to go in and find a presentation that I liked. And so for instance, maybe I like this fun facts brain break presentation. I can go ahead and either pick and choose which pages that I want it to come in. So let's say I want to pick this one. I click it, it automatically comes down into my pages. Or I might decide I want all of the pages. I simply click apply all pages, and those pages are going to pop right into my presentation. So it really makes template searching really easy. You're just able to jump right in and find exactly what you are looking for. Layouts are really fun because what it allows you to do is it allows you to be able to arrange. It basically designs your, creates your layout for you. And so when I am in a presentation and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back to the end here. And I'm going to choose one of these templates. Let's choose this one. I'm just going to pick and choose some here. So it is going to take the page that I have, and it's going to show me a lot of different ways that I can lay out that presentation on my page. So what's great about this is it's taking kind of that that design work away. Like it's allowing you to kind of come up with ideas of how to arrange your words and your thoughts and your photos and graphics on the page. And so it's giving you some options there. And when you find an option you like, you simply click it and then it changes to that particular layout. Another thing that I love is that you are also able to select color palettes that you might like. So let's say that you like this particular template that was chosen. However, you're not really crazy about the colors of that template. If you go in here, you can find templates or styles, excuse me, that you might like and you might want to bring in. Now, what's fun is it even knows the recent presentations that you've been working on, and it will even pull color palettes from those things because it figures you already liked this once, you might like it again. And so it's giving you those options. So for instance, if I wanted to go in and click this one right here, as soon as I click this color palette, look at how it changes this page to that color palette. Now, maybe I like the color palette, but I don't really like how Canva chose to apply that color palette to this page. I simply click shuffle. So I go to the center of that arsenal where it says arsenal again. I click it again, and now it shuffles it into a different array. And I keep shuffling until I get the arrangement of that color palette that I like. And then if I decide, okay, this is it, I love this one, I can simply go down to the bottom of my page and click apply to all pages. And then it is going to apply that color palette to all of the pages within your design. And so you can see how now that has changed my entire color palette to what I have selected. So I'm going to go ahead and just back out and go back to what I had before. But this is a really great place to really figure out first of all, what templates you want to use, really think about how you want to lay out your content on the pages, and really allow you to apply that color, which is really fun. I love, and they really added a lot to this particular icon over the last year. This icon used to say just templates, and layouts and styles were not a thing, and now they are, and it just allows for a lot of creativity and personalization when you are designing. So that is templates, layouts, and styles. So I'm now going to jump to elements. And if you were in the session this morning, you know that we spent a little bit of time here. So I showed you how to access graphics, and I showed you how to access photo. photos, and I even showed you how to remove a background from a photo. But there are lots more things in here as well. And so I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you some of the different features within Elements. Now, when I click on Search Elements, and again, I showed you this morning, these are all of the categories within Elements. And so you can think as a kid in your class, like they're going to spend a lot of time here really designing their whatever it is that they're designing, whether it's a video, a presentation, an infographic, they're going to find a lot of what they need in this particular tab. And so when you are searching for elements, if you already know the type of element that you want to go to, you can go to that category first and then search. So let's say I know that I want to find a graphic of a dog. I can go directly to graphics by clicking on it. And then in the search bar, I am going to type in dog, and it's going to bring up all of the dogs that are in the graphic library. Now, maybe I'm overwhelmed and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there's so many dogs. I don't even know how to sort through all of these dogs. When I go to the little filter over to the right, now I am able to make some choices. Maybe I only want to look at dogs that are animated. I can go ahead and click on animated, and now it is going to change my search so that only the dogs that are popping in are dogs that have some animation to them. And so I find a dog I like, and I'm simply going to click on it, and it's going to bring it right into my design. So I'm going to give you all a moment to find something to add to your graphic box if you are following along in the template. I would like you to go, and I'm going to just go through the process again. I'm going to go to Elements, click on Graphics, and then type something in the search. It can be anything that you want, and maybe filter that search down by clicking on this little filter on the right-hand side and deciding what you want to focus on. Maybe it's a color of something, maybe it's animated or static, maybe it's the orientation of what that looks like. And then go ahead and add it to the graphic box on your page. It should be, it's going to be a different page for you, but it's right after the page that says elements. And if you have questions, please put that in the chat. And as you're playing, I want you to know that some graphics that you're going to bring in are it's going to allow you to change the color, and some are not. So notice that when I bring this cat in, when I click on it, up here, it's showing me all of the colors in this cat, and it's allowing me to change those colors if I want to. So if I wanted to change this to more of a yellow color, I can go ahead and change that to a yellow, and it's automatically going to make that change. Okay, I'm going to give just 1 minute just to play right here. So if you want to search for a couple different graphics to add in, go ahead and do that. Okay. So now that you've added graphics, I am going to show you how you can add photos in. So again, I can just type something in the search term and it will show me everything. So let me just give you an example. Let's say I want to type in cat. It's showing me all of the cats, all of the graphics of cats, all the photos of cats, all the videos, even audios of cats. However, I can also just filter it down to photos and it will only show me photos. So that's one way. Another way, as I mentioned before, is I can just go straight to the category of photos and then it is already going to isolate that search for me. So now when I put in cat, I can find a cat that I like. And oh, this one's really cute. And I can go ahead and I want to show you what I'm doing right now. So as soon as I click on the photo, it's coming into my page. Now I'm going to show you a couple different tricks. This middle square is a frame, and you can find frames in Canva. I showed that feature this morning. And basically what the frame does is it cuts out your photo into the exact shape that you have selected. So when I bring this photo of a cat into my page, now when I drag it over this frame, look what happens. It pops right into that frame. So I'm going to show you another example of another frame that you could do this with. I'm just going to remove this one altogether. And just like graphics and photos is a category, so is frames. So when I go down here to frames, I can find a frame that I like. So maybe I want to create, this is kind of like a flower shape. I can move that into my page. And now when I go and bring in that cat, now it cuts out that cat in the shape of that flower. And so frames are really fun to be able to add photographs to a page or design in a really artistic way. And there's lots of different frame types. There's even letter frames where you can drop in maybe a glitter photo or something that has a lot of texture to it into a letter to be able to spell things out. And so frames are really fun to use. They only work with photos. So you can't drop a graphic into a frame. You only can drop a photo or a video into a frame. Either photo or videos will work. So again, I'm going to give you 1 minute just to play and find a photograph that you want to drop into either the frame I have there, or if you want to take it another step further, you can find another frame from the frames and elements and drop it in there. Okay. Now I want to show you something to take your photos to the next level before I move on to lines and shapes. So I'm going to actually add another page here. So let's say that I find a photograph in the Canva library, and let's see, I want to add, let's see what I find when I do this. Okay, so let's say I find this dog photo with the butterfly that is sitting on the dog's nose. But maybe I don't want there to be a butterfly on the dog's nose. I want to replace it with something else. So somebody in the room, if you can put in the chat, what is something you want me to replace this butterfly with? Get a little bit of participation here. And I will show you how to use one of Canva's new AI features to do that. Sunglasses. Ooh, okay. So the sunglasses or bumblebee. Okay. So if we want to replace this butterfly, it might be good because we probably want whatever we take away, it's going to put something right on that same spot. So let's do the bee, just because I think that will replace in the better spot. So I'm going to go to edit photo, and notice that when I had to be clicked on the photograph. So see how when I've clicked on the photograph, that means that I've selected it, and there's a purple line that runs along the photograph. That is when all of my editing features are going to show up on the top. So I always have to be clicked on whatever it is that I want to edit. Now, once I do that, I go to edit photo, and I have some really cool options here. Now, something to know is that you can't use all three on the same photo. So I have to make some choices. If you're in my session this morning, we use the background remover. And what that does is it removes all of the grass in the background. So all that remains is the dog and the butterfly. Magic Eraser and Magic Edit are similar. However, Magic Edit basically takes the Magic Eraser a step further. If I was to use Magic Eraser, I could erase this butterfly and it would just go away. So let's go ahead and try that. I am going to decide on how much of a brush size I need. And I am going to brush this butterfly and let go. And it's going to do its design magic, and that butterfly will disappear. So butterfly gone, right? So now let's say that I want to try the Magic Edit. When I click on Magic Edit, I can do the same thing. I'm going to erase the butterfly. But now what it's going to ask me is, what do I want to replace that butterfly with? And I want to replace it with better spell it right, a bumblebee. Now, is that one word or two? That is the question. We'll see. All right, and then I click generate at the bottom. And what's going to happen is it's going to give me some choices. And some of the choices are great, and sometimes these choices are not so great because this is AI technology. And oh, that's actually terrifying. My goodness, this one is actually the most terrifying. But you can see I have 4 different options. I might not like any of these options, and so I can generate new results if I want. But notice how when I select any one of these, it appears on that dog's nose. If I click generate new images, it is going to see if it can come up with some that maybe are a little less terrifying. We will see. I don't know. I would be terrified if I was that dog. Not any less terrifying. That is hilarious. And that's the thing with AI. You just sometimes don't know what you are going to get. However, it is fun to be able to see how this AI technology comes into action. So those two are pretty fun to play with. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to play with a photograph. Now, on your screen, you probably don't have a blank page. So I want to show you how to create a blank page within your template. If you kind of hover, so look at my screen right now. See how if I'm hovering right between 2 pages, it is going to give you a plus sign. And when you click on that plus sign, it's going to add a new page. So go ahead and hover and add a new page. And on that new page, I'd like you to find a new photo. It can be of anything that you want it to be of. And I would like you to play with one of those 3 options. If you are in my morning session, you might have already done background remover and you're like, been there, done that. I'm ready to move on to Magic Edit or Magic Eraser. That's great. Whatever one you want to try, just remember you only can use one of them per photo. It's not going to let you do more than one. Like you can't remove the background and remove the butterfly all in the same picture. So I'm going to give you a minute or so to play with that. If you have questions, please ask. I'd love to hear what you're creating or what you're learning.
Tisha, just to keep you in the know, there's no questions in the chat at this
Okay,
time. So I've been
thank
watching
you.
it for you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay. I'd love if anybody wants to share what they removed or replaced. I would love to hear what anybody is doing with those. But it's really fun to play with and really fun for kids to be able to really get exactly the kinds of images that they want when they are creating. Now, I want to really stay in elements for a little bit because there's just so many great things here. Lines and shapes are awesome. And so this is great when you want to bring in, either you want to connect things with lines or you want to bring in shapes that are text ready, just like I showed you before. This up here is a shape, and I know it's a shape because it tells me up here that it's a shape. And so I know that I'm going to be able to change the border, corner rounding, etc. But I can find shapes directly from the Elements library, right up here where it says lines and shapes. So if I go in and let's say that I want to bring in maybe even a thought bubble, I can bring in a thought bubble, and notice that this thought bubble is already ready to type in. So it is allowing me to add whatever I want to it. Also notice that I'm able to change the size. And if I wanted to add a border to this thought bubble, I could do that as well. I can change the color of this thought bubble. And I can even, I don't know, yeah, it does kind of round the point there. So I can even round the point of the thought bubble. And so this can be really thinking about, maybe you want students to create their own comic strips. You're going to find great comic strip templates in the Canva library, and then they can go in to the Elements and they can find those thought bubbles to be able to add to their comic strips really easily. And that text box is already ready for them within that thought bubble, which is really fun. So go ahead and play with a couple different shapes. Maybe practice adding in, maybe a text, right, like writing in there. Also, maybe change the border weight and see if you could do some changing with the border weight. And again, anything that I click on, notice how all of my features up here change. And so all of these things up here, I am able to do with this bubble. So maybe I want to change the size of my font within this text bubble. I can simply increase my font and that text is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm also able to layer things front and back. So maybe I want this thought bubble, let's just say, to go behind the cat for some reason. I can click on position and it's going to allow me to send that thought bubble backwards. So really great for being able to layer things within a design. Okay. Now this morning I showed graphics, but I want to show you, and I think I actually did show animate, but I want to really show you how powerful the animate tool in Canva can be. And really you can animate a lot of things within Canva, but I'm going to show you an example with a graphic. So I'm going to,
Tisha,
yes,
just so you know, there was a question, and so you can maybe do this part and then come back. The question is how do you change a frame?
Sure, great question.
So I don't know if you want to do that now or finish doing what you're doing. Either way, just wanted to catch it.
Yeah, this is a great time. So thank you so much. So let's say I'm going to click on this frame right here because this is the frame that I selected and brought a cat into. Now, when I click delete, I want to show you what happens. The cat goes away and now I have an empty frame. Now, let's say I want to just get rid of this frame altogether. I can just simply click delete on my computer and that frame is going to go away. So if I go into elements, if I click on this search bar on the very top, all of the categories show up and I can click on frames. And now I can find the frame that I want. So let's say I want to drop a picture in a kind of photograph that looks like a Polaroid. I simply find the one I want and I drop it in. So know when you are in Elements, anytime you see a graphic or an element that has this kind of cloud landscape scene, that is a frame that allows you to drop a photo into it. And so that is as simple as that is. Now let's say, I'm going to show you with this one, drop this photo in. This one has two. So now I can grab another frame or another photo and I can layer that in the back. And so now it looks like I have a photo covering another photograph. So I'm hoping that, Valerie, if that did not answer your question, let me know. But again, I don't know if you wanted to change the frame or change the photo in the frame. But if you wanted to change the photo in the frame, you could just click delete once you're clicked on that graphic. But you can just delete the entire thing and bring in a new.
Now, what I was trying to do is to change the actual frame. Leave the picture. I like the picture, but I just wanted a different style of frame.
So you just were gonna have to delete that particular frame and bring in a new one. So you would just have to kind of start over with another frame. You can't just like flip it and have that photo stay where it is. You're gonna have to bring in a new one.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, moving on. There is still so much more in these elements that I want to share with you. And I was going to talk to you a little bit about graphics, and I wanted to show you animation. So to do this, I am going to, let's take this photo, and I'm going to just make it larger, make it fit our whole screen here. And I am going, because we have a butterfly here, I am going to go into my elements and I am going to click on graphics and I want to find a butterfly. But I want a butterfly that looks like it's already flying. So I'm going to click animated and see what comes up here. So we've got a lot of different butterflies that are appearing. So I am going to click this one right here. Now, this butterfly is now on my screen. It's animated, so it looks like it's flying, but it's staying in one spot. So if I want to animate this butterfly and make it move around my screen, I can do that really easily. And this is how you do it. Again, like with anything, you have to be clicked on the object before you can add an additional editing feature. So I'm clicked on the butterfly. Now I want to go up to animate. And when I go up to animate, you can see that there's lots of different animations that I can select if I want to. I can change directions, how something comes in on the enter, on the exit. But what's really fun is when I can go up here to create an animation. When I click on create an animation, what it's going to allow me to do, see how it encapsulated that butterfly in a purple box. I can take my mouse and move that butterfly anywhere around the screen that I want that butterfly to go. And notice that it makes a path with a purple dotted line. When I let go, that butterfly is following that path. Now, because I used my mouse to do it, is a little bit choppy. So I can go ahead and click smooth. And now that butterfly is going to move in a little bit of a smoother motion. I can also steady the butterfly so it's a little steadier. And I also can change the speed of how that butterfly flies across the screen. Once I'm happy with my selections of how that butterfly moves around, I simply click done. And you're going to think, at first, wait, it didn't work. It's not moving. It's not moving across the path. That's because I have to go into present mode for it to do the animation. So now when I go up here to present and I click present, now I'm going to see that full animation of the butterfly moving around the screen. Now, students have so much fun with this. And I have been working with elementary kids in my own district. I was working with a 3rd grade class, and they were creating videos and they were having the best time with animations. And they actually created full scenes with these animations that were very, very impressive. And really to be able to illustrate a particular point that they were trying to make. And so when we allow students to get creative and use features like this, they will blow your mind. It's really pretty phenomenal. So if you haven't tried the animation yet, I encourage you to do so. You might want to bring in a butterfly to your page. You might want to bring in something else. But again, see what happens when you do that. So again, you are going to simply click on whatever it is you want to animate. Go up to the top bar and click animate. And then you simply are going to click create an animation and create a path by dragging it with your mouse so it creates this kind of purple dotted line. Let go. Make your choices to smooth it, to speed it up, speed it down, or slow it down, and then click done. And now you've created an animation within your page. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay.
Nothing
so those
in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great directions.
That's good. That is good to hear. So I know we have some science teachers in the room, and so for you, charts and tables might be something really valuable for you to have students take data that they are collecting in their classes and be able to communicate it in a visually engaging and effective way. So in the Elements library, there is a category for charts. And so when you click on charts, you're going to find a variety of different charts to choose from. Now, I can select bar charts, I can click select line and dot charts, pie charts, infographic charts, and other charts. So if let's just say I wanted a pie chart, I simply click on the pie chart. Now, I want you to see what happens over here to the left side when I bring in that pie chart. It is allowing me to enter data. Now, another thing that it's allowing me to do is to upload a CSV file that might have all of that data already in and connect it to this pie chart. It's also allowing me to connect to Google Sheets. So I can bring in a Google Sheet with the data that I want to connect to this pie chart, and it's going to bring that data in. So really, really intuitive and easy to be able to bring in the data that you want to communicate. Now, let me show you what happens. Let's say that I want to bring in ice cream flavors. So mint chip, we're going to bring in chocolate, strawberry. Now, I want you to see what happens as I'm typing. Notice that this is already populating on the chart. And we'll do coffee. So now all of those areas have been filled in. Now I'm going to just remove this box here so you can see it in full. So now notice that they're all equal. All of these are equal on the pie chart. So when I start bringing in numbers, I want you to see what happens. I changed that 10 to a 20 for mint chip, and notice how it's already reflected that in the pie chart. Let's say I want to bring in 30 here for chocolate. Now it's reflected. So it immediately changes your pie chart based on the data that you are connecting to it. Now, I also can change the colors here. So let's say I want to make one part yellow, one orange. Maybe I want to keep that blue, this purple, this turquoise. Now it has changed those colors. Now I want you to notice something else, that there is I'm right now on data. So you can see there's two different words here up on the top. I can change over to settings, and the settings is going to allow me to change that data to numbers or percentages based on how I want that data to be reflected. It is also allowing me to either show labels or not show labels. So I have that choice as well. Now, maybe you create this pie chart and you think, you know what, this really isn't communicating the data in the way that I was hoping it would. I want to choose a different type of chart to be able to use. I can go up to my pie chart settings and I can go to a different type. So I might want to go to a histogram chart or a row chart. Notice I have some other options on some of these. I can show a legend. I can show labels or not show labels. I can show grid lines and ticks or not. I can even swap columns and rows. So depending on which one you select, you are going to have different types of changes that you can make to that particular chart. So if you haven't already, I want you to jump in. Again, if you need to make another page in your practice template, you can do that and see what happens when you go into charts and you select one of choice. They even have infographic. This is a really fun one. They have pictogram charts too. And in that pictogram, you can select different pictures that you want to illustrate for your chart. You can change the number of items. You can change how many are going to be filled. You can even change your spacing. And so again, thinking about all ages of kids, what a great way for them to be able to communicate information in a graphic form. Thinking about infographics, if you were having your students create infographics for their learning, being able to bring in some of these charts to the infographics to maybe show statistics and or data that they are collecting in their research or their learning. So I think that this is a really powerful feature that Canva has added in. Okay. Is there a way to enter error bars? I don't see one. See, Ron, you're going to get too complex for me. So I don't know if I know what you mean. Is there a way to enter error bars? I don't know. If you want to unmute and ask, that might be easier. I don't know that I understand your question. Is that something that you would use on any chart, an error bar, or is that something specific to a certain type? Okay, if you want to add more in the chat, I will try to answer your question, but I don't know that I don't understand the ask on that. And this might be, you are teaching very high level science at the high school, so it may not do all of the things that you want it to do. So you might, another thing that I know sometimes people want to add additional things. So you might have to bring in extra text boxes, extra things to be able to do that. Okay. Oh, I can't hear you, Ron. I'm sorry. Is everybody else able to hear each other? I don't know. Okay. Okay. Error bars show the range of a mean on a data point. Yeah, I don't know, Ron. I would have to do a little bit of, I'd have to ask the Canva team because that is not an answer that I know. But I'd be happy to get back to you if you want to send me an email on via my contact information. I'll be sure to follow up with you on that. Very good question. So another part that's something that I think people don't realize is here that is pretty cool is tables. So a lot of times we want to be able to bring information in a really clean format. Tables are a great way to do that. And so I can go in and I can add. Now notice when I click on this that I'm getting these little dots on the top and I'm getting these little dots on the side. This is going to allow me to add rows I'm also able to add columns. Whoops. I can merge cells if I want to. I have to click right above a column to be able to add a column. So there is a, so just make sure that if you can't find the add column, it's because you have to be right above it. Also, I'm able to merge cells together. If I want to merge cells, I can change the color of the lines. And so a lot of, or fill the entire thing. So a lot of the features that you would see maybe in Google, for instance, you're going to be able to make those types of tables here. I'm also able to change a cell spacing or table spacing as well. And there's a lot of different formats for these tables as well. So you can see I have a lot of different table types that I'm able to choose from. Okay. I think we are ready to move on from elements. Is there anything in here? And just go in and play, and you're going to find all sorts of great stuff. There are great grids, which are great for if you want to do collages that you can use. So you'll notice that these are frames. They're just frames that are all brought together in kind of an arrangement. So like you're creating a photo book. So this is a great way to be able to bring in photos that maybe you've collected. Maybe you want to do a end of the year slideshow or something like that. You're going to be able to bring in these grids as well. Okay. So we are going to be moving on to uploads, and uploads is where you're going to be able to bring in anything that you have somewhere else. So let's say you have photographs on your computer, or maybe you have photographs in any of these places, Google Drive, Dropbox, Facebook, or Instagram. If those accounts are connected, it is going to bring in files for you to be able to use and bring into your presentations or whatever design you are creating. Now, what's great about this is that no matter what design you're in, those uploads are going to stay here and you're going to be able to access them anytime. And so you can go in, let's say you have a photograph and you want to remove somebody, or you want to remove the background. You're going to be able to bring in those photos of your own, and you're going to be able to do that really easily. Now, there is a hidden feature that is really, really cool that a lot of people don't know exists because it's kind of in a funny place. It's record yourself, and record yourself is in uploads, which doesn't seem like, it's kind of a hidden place. Like we wouldn't expect to find it there. But let me show you what happens when we click on the record yourself. So I'm going to go to record myself. And look what happens. It brings my picture into, it brings me into the recorder, the studio, and it brings me my video in here. Now notice that above my video, I have some things. I can filter, so I can add filters. I can add effects, skin smoothing. Yes, please, that'd be fantastic. And then I can also change this to a rectangular shape. I can flip my screen. And I even can turn my camera off for those students who maybe want to record their voice, but maybe are uncomfortable recording their face. They can turn it off as well. And so what happens when I do this is I'm going to be able to, and I also want to show you before I show you how to record, you have options. So not only can I just record myself, I can do a screencast or a screen recording. So I can record my screen and my camera at the same time, just my screen, or just me. So I have all of those options. Notice it's allowing me, it's having me choose where I'm pulling that audio and that video from also. And as soon as I'm ready to record myself, I'm going to click on record, and it is going to count down 3, 2, 1. And I can start talking, and I am going to be able to record whatever I want to record. So maybe a student creates an infographic and they want to record how they visually communicated their data on that infographic. They can do that. When they're done, they click done, and then they click save and exit. And save and exit is up on the very top corner here. So when I click save and exit, I want to show you what happens. Not only does my video appear on my page, it's also appearing in my videos here. So now I'm able to have the collection of videos that I've recorded, always saved in my design, and I'm also able to bring it in to my page. Now, if I wanted to go into frames and I wanted to bring in a computer screen and make it look like my video was in that computer screen, I can simply drag it in and now it's in the computer screen. Maybe I want to instead, I want to remove the background from this video because I don't want you to know that I'm in an office. Maybe I want you to think I'm at the beach. I can go ahead and go up to edit video. So again, I'm clicked on my video. I go up to edit video on the top. And now I can also remove the background from a video. So now it's going to look like I am wherever I want to be. I can put whatever background I want in back of my video, and it's going to show that that's where I'm at. So the video background remover takes a little bit of time. The longer it will, I think it will do up to I want to say a 2-minute video. So if you want to do multiple video removals, then you will have to do it a couple different times. So I love this feature. It's seeming like it's wanting to do it, but there it goes. So you can see that it's working because it has this little circle that appears in the video, and it's showing that it's processing. And so it will take a little bit of time, but it'll finally process and it will show me my video without the background. Okay. So we are at an hour. It's just flying by. So this is a good time, I think, to break and to have you practice. So I am going to set the timer. And Kelly, how much time do you think do you want me to give a break right now?
Yeah, that would be great. Do we want to give 10 minutes? That way they can go, get
Sure.
another bottle of water or something, use the bathroom, and then come back. And again, if you want to give them a task, so that way they're ready to go.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. So let's come back at 12:15 or 12:15 my time, which is 2:15 your time. And if you come back early and you want to play with the video background remover, maybe you want to actually record yourself, that would be a great thing to be able to do and to practice. And when we come back, we are going to jump into some more of the design features in Canva. And if you have questions, I will stick around. I'll be close to the computer, so please ask questions and I'm happy to answer them. I will be back in just a moment. We'll be coming back in about 3 minutes. All right, we'll be coming back in 1 minute. All right, it is 12:15, so we are going to come back. And I would love to take some time just to collaborate a little bit because there's been a lot of learning and there's been a lot of trying stuff. But what I want to do now is I want to bring you into our collaborative resource. So if you go back to that link that was shared in the chat at the beginning, you're going to see this link that says collaboration resources. And it's on the second line down. I'm showing it on the screen right now. And so I'm going to have you go ahead and click on that collaborative resource. And it's going to bring you to a deck that looks just like this. So make sure that we have the right. I'm going to copy and just put it in the link directly. Make sure you can get it. So I just added it. And see, I'm going to wait for people to get in there. Okay, we can see Valerie is in there. So what's going to happen is people are going to start splashing into the top of this screen. So you can see everybody splashing in here. Now, this was created as a presentation deck, but I want to show you something that you can do within any presentation, and that is expand it to a whiteboard. So right now, I am clicked on the first page of this deck, and I'm going to show you what changes when I click to expand to whiteboard. Now, when I click on this page and I go to my elements, it's just like it looks when I was in all the other designs. And notice that my page has borders to it. If I were to click on, and you can see the 3 little dots on the top of this page, if I was to click to expand to whiteboard, what happens is it turns this page into a whiteboard that has no borders. There's no borders in any direction. And so now I have a space that I can freely collaborate. Now, also, I want you to notice something. Notice how when I click on elements now, I have some different things that pop up. I have sticky notes, and I have lines and shapes, and I have whiteboard graphics. So what I am wanting you all to do, and I'm going to just, I'm going to show you how I can lock something in place. I'm going to drag my mouse over all of this. So this cannot be changed. I'm going to simply drag it over all of it. I'm going to click on the 3 little dots and click locked. And so now this cannot be moved. But what I would like you all to do is I want you to maybe share one of the favorite elements you found when you were searching the element library. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to click on elements just like you did before, and you're going to search for whatever it was that you found, and you're going to simply drop it in. Now, in addition to that, we have also learned a lot of new things. And so I also would love for you to share something that you especially, that you learned that maybe you especially like. And the way that you're going to do that is you're just going to click on a sticky note. So you can click on a sticky note over here. And as soon as you click on a sticky note, it drops it into our whiteboard, and it actually even adds your name to that sticky note. The sticky note is text ready, so we can write directly in it. So I'm going to set the timer. Yes.
Tisha, there's a question Valerie has. Where are the 3 dots again?
Yes. So you don't need to worry about the 3 dots on your side, but if you were to wanting to expand any page to a whiteboard, you would go down here to the 3 dots on a page. So I'm on the very right-hand corner of that first page, and I'm going to click on it would say expand to whiteboard. Right now I'm already in whiteboard mode, so it's saying collapse whiteboard to bring it back to a normal page. Good question. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 minute just to add in maybe some of the favorite graphics that you found or elements in the elements library, or maybe you want to add a sticky note and share something that you maybe learned so far that you didn't know existed in Canva that you're excited about. And you can make those text boxes a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger than they are. You can also make them a little bit smaller, and you can move them around your board. Yeah, the pre-made graphics. What I love is that students don't have to go outside of Canva to find them. They're already in Canva. They're already copyright safe to use. You don't have to worry about that. I always found when students were going elsewhere, they would maybe bring in images to their presentations that they weren't free to use. And so I think that's one of the great values of having everything on hand. Yeah, a lot like the photo editor. Fun fact is that the founders of Canva actually started Canva as a yearbook platform. That was like kind of the origin story of Canva. So I love that. I love that Canva has many resources. Absolutely. Love it. Thank you all for sharing. It's always good just to kind of know your thoughts. And I want you to notice as you're moving around the screen that we see your full name. And also notice that you all have different colors attached to your name. So it's really easy to kind of see as the teacher where students are moving around the board. So I love that feature as well. Another fun feature is that, or I guess a helpful feature, is that sometimes because this is an infinite space, I get lost or students might get lost. So, if you go down to the very bottom where it says 70%, I can simply click fit and it's going to bring me right back to center again if I lose kind of where I am at. So thanks to those of you who shared. It's great to know what you're learning and what's helpful. I'm going to go back to the presentation and I'm going to continue to share with you some different features in Canva. And we are at text combinations. And so I talked about this a little bit this morning, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but you're able to bring in lots of different text combinations into your designs. And as soon as I click on them, it is going to come into my design. And now I can change the words to whatever I want to change them to. And then if you notice at the bottom or at the top of my bar, now all of the same choices I can make normally are here. I also can just do a normal text box in either heading size, subheading size, or body of text size. So those are already coming in at maybe sizes that I'm already looking for. Now, I love the text effects because this allows me to create some really fun kinds of effects to my text. So I can add maybe neon. I can also maybe add a curve to my text, and I can even change the amount of curvature that that text has. So these are really fun to kind of play with and to try and kind of applying the different text types. I like this one that has a lift to it because it makes it feel like my text is kind of popping out of the screen a little bit. That's one that I use a lot in different designs and presentations that I use. And this is actually a new feature, I can even add a background to my text if I want to. If I want to add kind of a little bit of maybe I'm wanting to layer text over a photo, and so I want a background to it so that it pops out a little bit. That is a really helpful one as well. And then also backgrounds. So let me just stop right there for a moment. I just want to share with you that all of these features that I've shared with you so far are permanently on your sidebar. They're not ever going to move. In addition to those, I also have draw projects. And then everything else, all of the other features that you are going to be able to access in Canva are tucked away in your apps. So I want to share with you a couple more, and then I'm going to give you a moment to just kind of try some of these things. You might be trying them as I'm sharing too. The draw feature is one that has been in beta for a long time. It used to be tucked into apps. If you've been using Canva for a while, I know we had some threes in the chat, but it now is going to live on your sidebar. And I love this draw feature because I can select any color that I want, and I can change the transparency. I also can change the weight of my line. But notice that now when I'm on my page that this little pencil is showing up. So now with my mouse, I'm simply drawing on my screen, and I'm able to annotate. I'm able to draw lines from one object to another. I'm able to draw shapes. Kind of a fun feature in Canva is that if I draw a shape, so let's say I want to do a heart, and I hold down that heart, it is going to pop into a perfect heart shape. Same thing if I was to draw a circle. I draw a circle, I hold that pencil at the connecting point, and now it makes a circle. It does it for rectangles too. And it does it for stars. Whoops, that one got a little squirrely. Let's see if it still does it. I think I got a little carried away with the star. So that's kind of fun. It's the magic of Canva to really create these perfectly shaped shapes. Notice also, so now see how I'm in draw mode. As soon as I click on that little arrow, what happens is now it encapsulates my drawing into a box. And so now this box can be moved around my screen. I can move any of these shapes around my screen. I can make them smaller, bigger. Notice I even can change the color of what I've already drawn, which is really fun as well. So lots of options there. Now, this will blow your mind, or it blew my mind. I had a student who they were creating videos. This was a 5th grade class, and they were creating videos on the American Revolution. And they were just bringing in all the research that they had researched and creating these videos. Well, this particular student loved to draw. He discovered the draw tool. He started illustrating these scenes, and he went in, he illustrated them, and then he went in to animate and created an animation for his drawings. And then now he had an entire scene that he illustrated for his video on the American Revolution. I mean, kids will blow your mind if you give them the opportunity to. It's really wild. I think about primary kiddos, and maybe you bring in a page and you have a bunch of different objects that start with the letter A, and they have to circle with the draw tool all of the, I mean, maybe you have a mixture of lots of objects, but they have to circle all of the ones with the letter A. Math, having students come in here and maybe solve math problems and then go into uploads and have them record themselves and have them explain the process for how they solve that math problem. So really a lot of applications for using that draw tool in the classroom. Sketchnoting. I loved when I was in culinary to have my students create sketch notes, combining doodles and text to be able to take notes in my class. I found that they really connected to the learning. I found that they resonated, it stuck for a longer amount of time, and it helped them focus. So what about going into Canva and having them do their sketch notes in Canva? That could be really powerful. And now they can collect all of their digital notes maybe for that semester. So a lot of great options there. So I am going to pause right there, and I'm going to have you try either the draw tool, if you'd like to try the draw tool, maybe try those magic shapes, or try maybe text combinations. I'm going to give just a minute. I'll give you 2 minutes to play. And then we're going to move on to the hidden apps in Canva and show you all that those are able to do. And if you have ideas, maybe as I'm showing you some of these tools, you're thinking of some ideas of how you could bring this into your classroom, I would love to hear your ideas, because I'm a big believer in we are better together. If you want me to repeat anything too, please ask, because I'm happy to do that. And if you are trying that draw feature where you are making the shapes, just remember you have to hold that pencil on that connecting point for just a moment for it to pop in. All right. I want to circle back to this video to show you what this looked like, this video when it removed the background. It took an unusually long time today. It definitely has to do with bandwidth. And sometimes if I'm on Zoom and trying to do that at the same time, it takes longer than normal. Also, the longer the video, the longer it takes to remove that background. But once it's done, it does a pretty good job of removing it. So that's what it looked like and the finished product there. Okay, we are going to jump into the apps and I will end with projects because I think that's kind of an organizational piece that I want to share with you along with some other ways to organize your things. So I'm going to jump into the apps. Everybody should have it at the bottom of your line of the sidebar here. And as I scroll through here, you're going to see that there's lots and lots of apps that Canva has. And so I want to kind of share with you the ones that I find are, I don't know, the most powerful or have the most potential for classroom learning. And I'm going to kind of give you an example here of the different apps to try. And so you should have this screen in your template. You can try along with me. The first one that I love is the QR code generator. And so if you don't see it, you can just simply type QR code in the search bar when you're in apps and you're going to find it. Now, there are a number of QR code generators actually in Canva. However, these you have to have the QR code that has the tiger here, the middle one, and this MEQR. You have to have accounts to use. I always use this one right here, and because it's just simple. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a URL from another page. So let's just say I take this one, and I copied that URL, and now I'm going to paste it in this search bar. And as soon as I paste it in, I'm going to click generate code. Immediately that QR code is generated that is going to lead me to that particular page, site, whatever it might be that I want to access. And I think this is really powerful in a lot of ways. I mean, I used to always go to third-party apps to create my QR codes, download them, and then bring them into my presentations. Now it's all right there. Think about for student learning too. Maybe your students create a poster or a brochure or something that they're using to demonstrate their learning. And then they add a QR code that's maybe going to lead people to another resource that they have curated, or maybe something that they created in another platform that they want to show. This is a really easy way for students to bring in those QR codes into their designs. Now, I also want to show you when I go down here to customize, I can change things like background color. So maybe I want to change the background color to maybe this pinkish color. Maybe I want to change this to aqua. Oops. I can also decide how much margin that I want to have on my QR code, and then I simply click update. And now my QR code has changed to the colors that I selected. So you can have some really fun looking QR codes too that maybe match the colors in your design, which is, I think, really fun. So really useful app that I use all of the time. The next one that I'm going to show you is text to image. And text to image, I think, could be really fun in a class. It uses AI technology. And what happens is I can type something and it will generate an image of whatever I ask it to create. So let's say I want to create a image of a panda at a tea party. I type that in, and then I get to choose the style. And there's all of these styles to choose from. So I might want it to be a vibrant picture of a panda at a tea party. I'm going to select that. I'm going to select this I'll select square. I can select portrait, landscape, or square. And then at the bottom, I'm going to click create your image. And as soon as I click create your image, it is going to generate some different pictures of a panda at a tea party that are in kind of that vibrant style. And so I can, this one is cracking me up because he looks really happy. So I can either decide, yes, I love it, and click it and bring it right into my drawing. Or I can decide that, you know what, not super happy with that. Maybe I want to try a filmic style, and I can click create again. And now it's going to generate more pictures of a panda at a tea party. And one of the applications I think of as far as bringing it into learning is maybe your students write a story. You have them do a creative write, and then they have to generate a text to image that best illustrates the story that they created. Or maybe you as the teacher creates the image and then they write a story about whatever image you created. So I think there's a lot of really fun and creative ways that you can use text to image in your classroom. Another one that is brand new actually, and that I think can really be fun is these bingo cards. So when I click on bingo cards in Canva, it is going to create a simple bingo card game by entering a set of words and choosing its attributes below. So I can, oh, this is new. This actually was not here the last time I saw it. Oh, interesting. So I can click a certain one of these different image or graphics, and it's going to create the words for me. So now I have a bunch of different words from Harry Potter. I can select my grid size, the number of cards I want it to generate, the font that I want it to have. I can decide if I want grid lines or not, and I click create bingo cards. And now I have a set of bingo cards that I can use. So this is, I think, so much fun. And again, a brand new feature in Canva that so I think what happens is when I click on, so I can click on a page and whatever bingo cards that I want to bring into my page, it's going to bring those pages in. So what I think would be really effective is if you chose a design that was a square, then this bingo card would exactly fit that square, and you can create as many bingo cards as you want and then print them out. So that I think is super, super fun. So love that feature as well. And please, if you have questions about any one of these things, please share. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. So I'm going to just drop that in here. If you are a teacher of really any grade, but I think especially this is fun for elementary, is using the character generator. So again, if I go into my apps, and it's actually called Character Builder, I click on Character Builder, and what it's going to do is it's going to generate characters. And so think about a student writing a story, and now they want to create a storybook and bring in characters that look like them and their friends, or the characters that they've written about. They can go in and they can select hairstyle. They can go in and choose expression. There's lots of different expressions to choose from. And then they can even bring in different body actions, styles. There's lots of different ones to choose from. And now I can click done, and it has generated this this character that I can bring into my story. And now I can add in maybe a scene in the background, or I can add elements, graphics, whatever it is that I want to add in. And so a great way for students to create their own stories in Canva. Okay, this one is, I'm gonna use I'm gonna save bulk create for the end because it's a little bit more complicated than the other ones, but super, super useful. Pixton is the one I'm going to talk about next, and this is a way for you to bring in different characters from the Pixton library. And so I just simply click on Pixton. I can choose a specific type of outfit, and now it has generated all of these different chefs that I can bring right in. So again, great thing to use if you or students are creating comic strips to demonstrate their learning, if they are creating a story, storyboarding, all of those Pixton characters could be really useful for your students as they are trying to create that. Embeds are wonderful to be able to bring in things like YouTube videos, or maybe you want to @smash Canva with another platform. You can go in here and you can click on embeds, and you're going to be able to paste a link here, and it is going to paste that YouTube or whatever it is right into your slide. So I could go directly into YouTube and I could bring in a YouTube video of choice, and it will embed it right into my slide. So it will not work with, it has to be it has to be an embed. The link that I'm selecting and pasting in here has to be a link that is embeddable, but any embeddable link will work, and embed that right into your designer page, which is really useful. I think videos is a great use of that particular app in Canva. Now, Translate has not been around very long, but I think it's really powerful, and I think that it's going to continue to improve. And so what Translate is going to do is it is going to take a page of whatever it is that I have written, and it's going to translate it for me into up to, I think it's over 120 languages. So it's automatically going to detect the language here, and I can choose which language that I want to change it to. So let's say that I wanted to change it to Spanish. I simply click Spanish, and then I select what page I want to be translated. So right now, it will not translate the entire presentation all in one fell swoop, but it will translate one page at a time. And so I think what I would do is, if I was wanting to translate an entire presentation, I would probably have my English version. I would create a copy, and I can create a copy up here, make a copy, and then I would translate the pages of the other copy. I have a feeling that this is going to continue. Like I said, it's brand new. It will continue to improve. I can also decide if I want Canva to automatically detect if it needs to reduce the size of the font based on how many characters are in that translation. It will also allow me to choose if I want to duplicate the page or not. So some great options there as well. But let's go ahead and go back. So I want to change this to Spanish. I'm going to translate. It's going to take a couple moments, and now this whole page is translated to Spanish. And so now I have my English version and I have my Spanish version. So this, I think, could be really helpful in a lot of different ways in classroom learning. And again, I think the accessibility and translation features are just going to continue to get better. Something that I didn't mention before is that, notice in this video right here, I'm able to access closed captioning. So any video that you create in Canva and any video that you find in that video library is going to have closed captioning on it, which is really cool. And then this last one is Bulk Create. And so Bulk Create is a way for you to, it's mail merge. So if you've ever used mail merge before and you want to create, let's say, certificates, and you want to bring in a roster of your students and you want Canva to create one certificate with each person in your class's names on it, it's going to do that. And it's kind of best to show this. I'm going to show it in a separate design because I think it works. It's easier to understand. So I'm going to create a certificate template. And I am going to go to my Bulk Create. And I'm going to click on Bulk Create. And it's going to ask me, do I want to enter data manually or do I want to upload a CSV? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enter data manually. And we have John Smith, we have Jane Jones, we have Tisha Richmond. Add my kids' names here. Now, once I have my data included, I'm going to click done. Now, this is where, like when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, now what? What happens next? So what you have to do is you have to, so let's say I want to create a certificate. Got to get a certificate in here first. So let's say I want to use this certificate. What I need to do next is I need to click on the name that I want to bulk create. So this is the name that I want to be replaced on all the certificates. So I click on that name and then I go up to the three little dots here and I have to click connect data. This connect data will not show up unless you have already started the bulk create process. So I want to connect data and I want to connect it to the name. When I do that, now it is ready to use that bulk create. So now I can make sure I click on whatever field I want it to bring in. I click continue. I decide if I want all of those names bulk created. And then at the bottom here, I click bulk create. And what it's going to do now is it's creating a certificate for me with every single name on it. So now I haven't had to hand input all of those names. It's going to do that automatically for me, which is just really helpful. So I think about certificates, name tags, envelopes, like whatever it is that you need to create and you want all those names, this is a great way to use that tool. So really powerful tool that I think is often overlooked because people don't always understand how to use it. So it's pretty fun. I just shared with you, I think, my very favorite apps, but you're going to notice that when you go into the app library, there is a lot of apps here. You also are going to be able to change your backgrounds and anything that you create. Notice that I can even connect to Bitmoji if that is a capability that you have turned on in your district. You are able to find emojis. There are just lots and lots of things. Now, some of these third-party apps, you have to have an account for them to work. And so I kind of showed you the ones that you don't need an account for that work no matter what. And the ones that I have found are most powerful in the classroom and in any educational role. And there's a lot of fun to be had in all of those different apps. Now, I want to share with you a few Canva tips, and then we are going to be jumping into, I just want to go into the template library before we go and kind of make sure that you know how to access templates and do a little bit of a search. So one Canva tip is that when you go into your sidebar, there are certain, like I told you before, different icons in your sidebar that are not going away. Design, elements, uploads, text, draw, and projects are not going away, and this apps tab is not going away. Now notice as I was adding and going in and bringing in apps, notice that each of those apps populated my sidebar. And notice when I click on them, there's a little X. And that means that I can keep these on my sidebar if I want to. However, if they are cluttering my sidebar and it's driving me crazy to have all of this clutter, I can simply click on it, click the X, and it tucks back into the apps again. So I can make all of these disappear if I want them to. And as soon as I use them again, they're going to pop back in. And so that's a good way to keep everything clean. Another tip that I want to share with you is that when you are in Elements, any element that you find that you like, so let's say I go back to my dog graphics, and let's say I really love this dog and I feel like I'm gonna, maybe it's my theme for my classroom this next year, and I want to have lots of dogs on everything. I can save this in a folder so I can find it easier next time. And I can do that by hovering over the dog, clicking on the three little dots, and then going down here to either star it, so it stays in my starred folder, or I can go down to add to a folder. And if I don't have a folder already for dogs, I can go to the very bottom and I can create a new one. So I have to scroll all the way down, click create new, and now I create a dog folder, and now that dog is going to be in my dog folder. Another great tip is if you are working with littles or maybe students and you want them to be able to access certain graphics all of the time, you can create a folder of graphics that you want them to use and share it with them. And now they will have access to all of those different elements that you want them to have access to. So another really handy tip. Another great tip is that projects is where all of your designs live. So when we were on that homepage, those of you in my first session this morning, and we were in projects, those same projects, all of the designs that you've ever created are going to be accessed from within the design as well. So let's say that I really wanted to bring in this one pager into this presentation. I can simply find the design that one pager was in, click on it, and now I've added a new page to my presentation. So if you don't have to like copy and paste or download and bring back in, you're going to be able to find all of those designs from within projects. That's a really helpful tip. Okay. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of design features that I wanted to share with you.